Hello there. Yes, I'm making this and I'm being a bit of a jerk while I'm making this. But November 18th of this year, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet releases, and I'm going to be doing a 24-hour stream, and I would like to see you all there. That's right, November 18th. That's a Friday, 24-hour stream. I will be doing it, and I will be having fun. So come on by, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, do all that stuff, and yeah, we'll have fun. So last week, I don't remember if it was Friday or Saturday when I did this article, but you had a Kotaku writer, and I have it on screen now, and I'll also have the video linked somewhere up here in the corners. I'll have it linked in the description below, and also I'll have it at the end of the video. But a Kotaku article, as you can see here, said that Final Fantasy XVI has a terrible reason for it being too white. The same Kotaku article, CC Jiang, comes out with this. Because she got too much backlash, let's be real. And that's what she says. We need to start holding Japanese RPGs to a higher standards. Respecting Japanese video games means not treating them with kids' gloves. By CC Jiang. So, before we begin, remember, this article drips of the reason why Kotaku is not reputable, why it's filled with just its ideology to the max, and this article is extremely racist. I'm just going to put it out there. I don't say that word lightly. I don't use it like these people do. And it is some of the most soft bigotry of low expectations. I have the softest bigotry of low expectations I have ever seen from a person. And it is so, she doesn't realize what she's doing. She doesn't realize what she's saying. And it is so hard to read through this article without wanting to immediately scream. And I'm going to try my hardest, but I had to walk away from my computer after reading this article initially. Then I did my other two videos, read through all those articles, talked about that, doing this one at the very end because it is so dripping in their ideology. It is sickening. Let's get into it and let's address what she says. I had one hell of a weekend. After I published my piece on Final Fantasy producer Naoki Yoshida's misguided comments about the next game's overwhelming whiteness. Real quick, hold up. Forgot to mention something. In my video that I did for her other article, I criticized Final Fantasy, and I criticized Square Enix very much, and I didn't give Naoki Yoshida any quarter. I did not go to his actual IGN interview, and I apologize for that. On the roundtable, they went through his interview from IGN. They actually went over his exact quotes, and his quotes were a whole lot better than what she made them out to be, and I will accept my responsibility for having effed up. That being said, this lady misrepresented everything he said, and I'm sorry that because of that, my position was skewed. I still am very critical of Square Enix because of their wanting to be in a global market, and a lot of these questions you now get. But this person no longer gets any, not Naoki Yoshida's, and I heard a bunch about some of the Yoshida's, a lot of the things that he did, and I have some high respect for him as of right now. Still not giving Square Enix a whole lot of credit, though. I still think they're doing a bad thing, but CC Jiang completely misrepresented everything he said. It was not misguided. It was very tactful and elegant, and I am impressed. The fans completely lost their minds. Yeah, because you attacked a man that they loved. You really effed up. You went after something that people were happy about. And I apologize for my actions. I did not realize it. Granted, nobody really came after me. I was more going after Square Enix, not Yoshida. But you stepped in it big time. Sure, I saw the usual slurs and petty insults. Receipts or they didn't happen. I can believe the petty insults, but receipts on this one. But those weren't the comments that stuck out to my brain. What bothered me were the seemingly well-meaning people who told me that Japanese creators couldn't possibly understand racial differences, or that we shouldn't expect East Asian developers to be empathetic about representation for black and brown people. My freaking God, I hate everything about this, because no, they are empathetic. They do understand. They just have a unique way of showing it. I rolled my eyes so hard, I ended up writing a blog about it. When I write about wanting Japanese games to be less socially embarrassing, no. What you want is for them to be homogenized just like Western games and have everything that you want. There's almost always a backlash. Yeah, because people like what Japan's putting out and they don't want our stuff. Hello, what we have coming out here, they don't want to see our stuff and their creations. That's why we're so critical of it. That's why I'm very critical of Square Enix wanting to market more towards a global audience, because these people inevitably infect it. People accuse me of projecting Western ideas onto an Asian country. You literally are. But Japanese pop culture has already been engaging with the themes of real-life racism. Yeah, they've always been doing that, but they do it in a more unique way that the West has been doing so horribly. One of the main characters in the manga Bleach 2001 is a Mexican-Japanese boy who was bullied for being different. The protagonist of an action RPG Yakuza 3 2009 realizes that one of the foster children is racist towards another kid for being half black, and he teaches her not to judge people on the basis of skin color. Race. So all that, yeah, they do really good at that. Japan does racism in a very unique way that America hasn't done in a very long time. America and the West in general haven't done in a very long time, where we're all about talking about the oppressed and the oppressors. They'll actually talk about, hey, don't be racist. Or, hey, when they do an oppressed versus the oppressor, sometimes the oppressed are just as bad as the oppressor. I point towards 86. Perfect example of racism done very properly through Japanese culture. I love that I don't love racism. I love the way they depicted it. I thought it was very thoughtful, very meaningful. And they said that not even the 86, they're not all good either. There's some very bad people. But what we've been doing over here is if you're black and brown, you're immediately an amazing, awesome person, no matter what. And all the white people are bad. Race is important to them race is important theme to any artist who wants to represent the full range of human experience. No, the human experience is an important theme. Race is always a secondary factor. If you want to depict racism, you have unique ways of doing it. I point again to the 86. I could also point to Attack on Titan as a unique way of showing racism, regardless of whether they're American or Japanese. Yes, but also racism has different meanings in each country. They have different ways of viewing it, different ways of handling it. You want to do it solely from a Western American centralized aspect. That's where you're coming from. You're not coming from like the Japanese aspect. You're not coming from the classical aspect of, hey, don't judge people by the basis of their skin color. You want people to be judged by the basis of your skin color. You're judging people by the basis of your skin color because of Final Fantasy 16 being based in basically a medieval European fantasy world. And even the developers of Final Fantasy 16 are extremely sensitive to racial and cultural differences outside of Japan. No, Well, they're more sensitive in the fact that they're trying to tell a story and they have a specific idea and a specific genre, and you don't like that. So now you're whining because you got pushback. Because every time somebody comes out to say, hey, let's do more of this representation stuff and anime and everything like this, they try to start putting their little fingers into it, they get major whacked by both Japanese people, by both American people, of all race, genders, sexualities, all of that. They don't want you touching it because they like it so much. For example, the developers have deliberately chosen to only use European voice actors for their English dub. Yeah, because it's set in medieval Europe in a fantasy world. They are using posh British accents. They've also opted to have those actors use very posh British accents. Yes, medieval Europe. That's what they're going for. Now we're knowing that it's more in a British thematic. That means even going back to my video there, we talked about how there was some black people throughout medieval Europe, but they were more in Southern Europe, not Northern Europe. Northern Europe in this era predominantly was white. Let it be. It's fine. Quit complaining. And now we're getting a more idea that it's predominantly Britain. It is okay. You're just racist. Which only a very small percentage of the British population actually have. Wow. So what? You see, this is where these people get so nitpicky. They'll start poking and prodding everything that they see through this lens of race, to the point that when we start saying, hey, we don't like that, quit doing that, they call us the racists, but they're constantly viewing it through this lens. Well, I don't get why it matters that they have a British accent. I really don't. It doesn't matter. A massive publisher like Square Enix is fully capable of utilizing non-Japanese talent to improve cultural accuracy. It's a fantasy game set in medieval England. You are taking the stereotypical version of that and you're running with it. It is perfectly fine. It has simply chosen not to dedicate resources to making some of their characters a race other than white European. No, they have a story they want to tell, and that's where they're coming from. This is the story they want to tell. We'll do something else, but this is what we're saying right now. And you're just complaining that they don't have their token black person. There's this wonderful meme out there. Fantastic meme. And it goes, it's all white, so it's racist. So they put in a black person. Oh, so that's your token black person? That's racist. So now you put in a bunch of black people. Well, they're not doing things right, so that's racist. You can never make these people happy. They will never be happy. They will always think that you're racist. So I am once again asking it has simply chosen not to dedicate resources white Europeans. So I am once again asking weird nerds not to pretend that Square Enix is some indie developer in a guy's basement. It is a multinational corporation that wants to sell copies of games to gaming audiences that include black and brown people. But you fail to acknowledge, you just put yourself in your own trap. It is a multinational corporation that is worth massive bank, has tons of fans. How do you know that they don't already identify with these people? This is when you show your hand that you are a racist. This is your soft bigotry, because you're saying, well, there's no black and brown people, so how can they feel represented? How can they feel included? How can they feel like they belong in this game? That's not the point. The unique thing about Japanese storytelling that Western storytelling has failed at for so long now, for the past several years, you can identify with a Japanese from an anime character, from a JRPG character, solely on their characteristics. Shocking, I know. It's something that you can't figure out because you're a racist, and all you care about is the race, the skin color, all that. That's all you care about. Nothing else. And I wasn't simply criticizing some newcomer to Japanese game development. Naoki Yoshida is the lead creative producer on one of the most globally famous video game franchises of all time. Globally famous. Like I said, you're just assuming black and brown people don't want to play these games now because there isn't a black and brown person. This is when these people start showing their true hands and how they truly feel about stuff. Soft bigotry of low expectations. It is his job to keep up with popular media and cultural trends. No, it's his job to make sure that the game is good, the storytelling is fantastic, and it keeps paying. And it keeps building to the point that people want to continue coming back, and he is doing that. Racial diversity is definitely one of them. Yes, but in this story, he doesn't require it. So quit complaining about it. Hollywood is slowly finding out that more equitable casting leads to better box office performances. False! Full on false. Marvel hasn't had a billion-dollar movie since Phase 4 began. Their shows are constantly dipping. They're not succeeding. They get a good opening weekend. They eke out a profit. These equitable casting leads have not been working. That is full-on false. And they cite the New York Times loses $10 billion a year by dragging their feet on diversity. No, in fact, they're actually losing more money because they're forcing it down everybody's throat and doing forced diversity. There's a difference between having a story character and having somebody be black for no real reason. You know, hey, you have two guys. I'm trying to think of what I'm doing. A character being black, and that's the least about of his character. What Hollywood's been doing, like, you can have, I'm trying to think of a good way to describe this. Barrett. Perfect example. Barrett's a big black man with a Gatling gun for an arm. I know Barrett more as a character. He is a good father. He is a hard fighter. He wants freedom. He wants to be out of the boot that was Shinra. He comes from a place that was destroyed by Shinra and was actively hurt by Shinra. I can identify with Barrett as a character. And Barrett, yet again, is a big black man with a Gatling gun for an arm. I can relate to Kate Sixth. I can relate to, it was Kate Sixth. The dog cat thing. I cannot remember what it was. I can relate to a dog cat. I can relate to Tifa. I can relate to these characters from Final Fantasy VII, even though I don't look anything like them. What they are doing in Hollywood and right now, and you trying to basically, it's a logical fallacy. Appearance, something to authority, not appearance, but appeal to authority, because Hollywood, appealing to authority by you citing New York Times. Hollywood's losing money. People are checking out of Hollywood and going to Japan. They're gaining money. Hollywood's losing money. So don't you dare try to conflate any of this and say that Japan needs to get with the times. You can go screw yourself. If we're trying to measure the art artistic achievements of a prestige game, then inclusivity should be elevated as seriously as we might consider technical elements such as graphics, cinematography, or the responsiveness of the controls. If it doesn't require it, it doesn't need to be a part of it. We care about the story. We care about the character's integrity. Quit focusing solely on, is he a black? Is he a brown? Does he have a pee-pee? Does he have a vagu? Does he have boo-boos? Quit focusing solely on that. Who does he sleep with? It doesn't matter. I don't need to know what Barrett sleeps with. I don't. I identify with Barrett. That's all that matters. Barrett is a very unique character that I really, really like. So no, it doesn't. This inclusivity should be elevated to that level. No. Inclusivity doesn't even really matter that much. All that matters is a good storytelling. Now you can have a diverse story still, but what Final Fantasy 16 again is set in medieval Europe in a fantasy element. Medieval Europe, predominantly white. You're just mad because you're a racist. Oh, where are responsive controls? It's insulting to hold blockbuster Asian games to a completely different standard. It's insulting to force your ideology onto Asian companies. It's insulting for you to take American ideology and say that Asian companies need to adhere to this. It's almost like it's colonization. It's almost like you're trying to colonize an Asian company. Moreover, it feels incredibly awkward to be told that Asian creators can't develop media literacy about racism. No, they can. They have. They just have it at a different space, and you want it to be your literacy of racism, which is a full-on racists, and I don't want it there either. Yoshida himself said in a Fanbyte interview that he experienced racism in America and Europe, which is more than I can say about the white creative leads who helm projects featuring non-white characters. So what? So because he's faced racism, he needs to put racism in everything that he has? No. He has a story he wants to tell. Let him tell that story. The backlash to demand for inclusivity is interesting when it comes from JRPG fans. I read a strong tone of defensiveness that JRPGs are just fine as they are, and they don't need to be held to Western standards. As someone who grew up playing them, I get where the feeling comes from. No, you don't, because obviously you don't. Obviously, you're willing to compromise everything because you want it to bend to your standards. All we are saying is, hey, let Japan do what Japan does. They put out amazing storytelling. You cited some good points about storytelling from anime that dealt with race. Yeah, that was Japan's storytelling, not American storytelling, though. Japan has a very unique sense about this, and we like it when Japan makes their stories. We don't want to see American stories from Japan. We want to see Japanese stories from Japan because Japan does fantastic storytelling. And you coming out here, and then attacking people, telling them to get with the times, basically crying, spewing your racist rhetoric, and then say, I get where they're coming from because I too used to play these games. No, you don't get where it's coming from because you're trying to force it to your own will. Just a decade ago, a Canadian indie developer felt emboldened enough to publicly tell a Japanese developer at a conference, Japanese games just suck. The crowd laughed. I'm sorry, you guys just need to get with the times. The developer whom the comment was aimed at had been a programmer for Final Fantasy VIII. Wait, is that 8 or 13? I think that's 13. Final Fantasy 13. A month later, Kotaku published a blog that defended JRPGs from oft-repeated claims that the genre was too stale or archaic. All that is it's a logical fallacy. I can't think what the name is, but it's the idea of, hey, guys, we're on your side, okay? We love JRPGs. We once defended JRPGs, but now we're attacking them. No, you don't get any quarter because the Final Fantasy 13, then from now, you guys have completely changed. You have lost all credibility. Nobody respects you. And this article here is dripping with you guys trying to force your ideology onto a Japanese business. That's called colonization. You are trying to cause a homogenous culture where your ideology reigns supreme. You are racist, you are bigoted, and I want none of your stuff in Japanese culture. I want you to get I want this toxic, woke, racist ideology to be as far away from it as possible. In the face of unfair criticism towards JRPGs, it can be tempting to reflexively defend the genre. Yeah, we are defending the genre. We're defending it from people that don't care about it and just want to see it burn. I've certainly been guilty of it in the past. Yeah, well, you should understand where we're coming from, but you don't because you want to see it bend to your will. But it's not necessary anymore. Genshin Impact is the most widely played open-world game globally. Square Enix is publishing both new JRPGs and remakes of older titles for the Western market. 70% of Persona 5 sales were from overseas. As JRPGs achieve record-breaking sales numbers, the instinct to defend these games feel even more dated to me. No, it's even more bigoted of you to say that. Because I go back to what I said earlier when I said these are global audiences. People love these characters. We should bend and change for them because black and brown people don't see representation and aren't being shown. No, that's you being a bigot. That's you being racist, full on. Because as you point here, Genshin Impact is the most widely played open world game globally. You mean to tell me only white people are playing that game? No. Black and brown people are also playing that game. Other people are playing that game. Not just white dudes. Not just conservatives. And I'm bringing that up for a very specific part that comes up. Square Enix publishing both new JRPGs and remakes of old for Western markets. Western markets is not solely white conservative men. You got black and brown guys. I know plenty of people that love this game. I went to Anime Matsuri. I saw plenty of black dudes who love this game. I saw plenty of black girls that love this game. I saw some very interesting stuff down at Anime Matsuri. And they love they love Japanese culture just the way it is. They don't want it to bend to our world. They want to keep it the same. That's how we were managed to come together and actually have fun because we acknowledged that Japanese culture is so unique and we want to celebrate it. So you saying here that it's a little more dated to you? No, what you're doing is extremely racist and is just filled with disdain for people and the lack of knowledge because you don't think that a black or brown person can see themselves in Cloud and Squall and Tifa or any of that. You don't see them. You don't think that they can see themselves in there. Final Fantasy 16 will sell... Wait, did I do that? Dated. Genshin Impact will survive the criticisms of how it represents Southwest Asian people. Yeah, because it's still Genshin Impact. It's being produced predominantly by China, but it's still being popular and celebrated. People love it. Your criticisms don't matter. Final Fantasy 16 will sell millions of copies no matter how bad the representation is on launch. That should tell you that nobody cares. That should tell you that your argument is bunk And all this article is you crying because nobody wants to listen to you and that you can't get a Japanese company to bend to your American world. You can't colonize them. So you're crying. Remember when I said conservatives? But I don't actually think the argument that was simply can't that we simply can't expect Japanese devs to understand race and racism are necessarily made in good faith. What? Who's making that argument? They can understand it perfectly. They do better storytelling again than what we're getting over here. Fullmetal Alchemist had a great storyline developing around race and racism. The excuse of Japan is simply different. It is different. It does things differently and they do it better. Seems to extend to all other forms of oppression too. What? So now is Japan oppressing them or are we oppressing Japan? Huh? Are you now accusing Japan of being oppressive? You don't care about this stuff. You just want to find something to complain about. Whenever someone criticizes how women or queer people are represented in Japanese media, hello Persona 5 fandom, I see some aggressive rebuttal about how Japan doesn't understand feminism or LGBTQ rights. If the vibes are off, I check the profile only to find that the commenter is American. How predictable. Can I mention something? These are Japanese games. This is the big reason on why I said that a lot of these JRPG companies, a lot of these Japanese companies need to say, hey, we're Japanese, we're located in Japan, we sell to Japan first, America, and the rest of the world second. Because, yes, you see this? Whoever someone criticizes how women are queer, just saying, oh, they're from America. No, a lot of Japanese fans, the people that love these games so much, will come out and they will tear you apart if you dare touch anything that they like. There was a Japanese voice actor that tried to say, hey, we need representation in Golden Kamui recently. He got bitch slapped. The Japanese community came out and said, F off. They don't want any part of it. So you saying oh, they're American, by the way, doesn't matter. These are people that like what they're getting. They don't want it to change, even if they're American. And when you say, oh, well, they're American, how do you know they aren't black, brown, queer, female? How do you know they're not that, huh? How predictable? How predictable? Go fuck yourself. Here's why. White conservatives, here it goes, into the political aspect, are terrified that they're losing hold on popular media. They're looking for their own utopia, a place that excludes women and minorities. For some white people, Japan is seen as internally unchanging, conformist, and traditional society, where marginalized people know their place. You're blaming all your hate that you got, all your pushback, on white conservatives, on white conservative men. Remember when I started pointing out those numbers of obviously not everybody who are playing these games are white, not everybody who's playing these games are conservative. They span all ideologies, all races, all sexes, all creeds, all that. Remember when I brought up my anime Matsuri? Yeah, that's why. Because this makes no sense. This makes absolutely no sense. These are people that like these properties and don't want to see it become Americanized. Don't want to see it become Marvel. They like what they're getting and they don't want you to touch it. Oh, excuse me again. You are trying to take something that we like, black people, brown people, gay people, and try to shape it to something that you want it. You don't care what we want. Hey, I might be a white conservative, but I know damn well that there's a decent amount of black individuals that really love Naruto. I know that for a fact. There's a rapper that modeled his little anime. He had an anime icon on several of his rap videos. He uses it. It's based off of not the Akatsuki. It's based off the Akatsuki because he loved Naruto so much. So do not pin your the backlash you got on white conservatives, because you definitely got backlash from other people. You are just sitting here crying now. But gamer, obvious countries don't work like where marginalized people know their place. Obviously, countries don't work like that. Obviously, you don't care about Japanese culture or Japanese storytelling. You don't. You want it to conform to an American style. But gamer chuds want Japan to be a safe space from all the SJW nonsense. Yeah, we do. And also Japan wants to be that too. Regardless of what's good for JRPGs as a genre or what's actually makes good business sense. No, it makes horrible business sense. You want to know why? Create an original thing using your guys' ideology. Create an original thing, see how long it lasts. Don't worry, darling. That made Universal millions of dollars, didn't it? What about Bros? Box office records. No. Quit taking our stuff to try to subvert it and put your stuff in it. You are trying to colonize Japan. That's all this is. And I'm going to keep saying that. You are trying to colonize them. For the side that says colonization is wrong, you do it a whole lot. I'm excited that East Asian games can finally attain Western recognition for artistry and innovation. No, you're not. You're not excited because they're not conforming to what you want them to be. But I also want American audiences to be able to seriously reckon with their weaknesses too. Yeah, they have weaknesses here and there. Sometimes their storytelling isn't up to par, but we like it. Will Japanese creatives leads make mistakes with racial inclusion? Absolutely. That's part of being any director, irrespectively of nationality. But they should be expected to make the attempt. Expecting these games to have good representation isn't ignorant. It's a sign that we're finally taking Japanese games seriously. No, it's a sign that you want to take something and change it again. You took Marvel and changed it. You took DC and changed it. You took Star Trek and changed it. Doctor Who, Star Wars. Leave Japan alone. Japan doesn't want you. They constantly come out and say, we don't want you, and get out. They vote with their dollars over there en masse. Leave it alone. With that, guys, give me your thoughts down in the comments below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Share it out with all your friends. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live. And I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.